happy Sunday. I hope everybody's doing well today. Today I am finally getting to showing you my beautiful ShinHan alcohol brush marker, twin marker. They're the Touch ShinHan twin markers that I got for my birthday, which was last month. These sets run for probably about $2.50 per box. I think I got the last two sets on Amazon. I actually bought them, and then now I don't see them. Now all I see are the ones that are in the black case. So I think there are some in the black case and some in a white case, but I have two cases. This one I've opened, and this is 60 colors in set A, and I also have set B in the box still that I have not opened, so I can show you what it looks like, what you get in the box. I also started coloring a picture this morning in Deborah Muller's big mega book, because I've been dying to do a picture in here since it's Christmas in July. I started a picture this morning to test out set A, and I'm going to continue doing a little coloring of the hair and whatnot. Now, I have to say that I only ever do skin tones with my Copic markers, so they do have skin tones in the set. I randomly was grabbing some and playing with the skin. I didn't swatch any of these, didn't know what I was doing, so clearly it was a little too much yellowing and brown. Some issues with the blush. I need to go in with pencil and fix that. It really takes time to master your skin tones, and when you get used to a certain medium and know your blending technique and which colors work best. So it's really, this was totally a practice page. I do have to say, and everything on this page was done from set A. And I also used an alcohol blender. This is an Ohuhu, and you can use any alcohol blender marker. On some parts, like you see on the gingerbread, these little kind of white spots there on the blue light, the green light, the blue light, and the yellow where it's a little bit lighter. I use the alcohol markered blender to kind of give it a little bit of a shine or some brightness. The same here where I used two greens, a dark, a medium, and then a little bit of that blender on the tips. So I wanted you to kind of see how it works. By the way, I love this book by Deborah Muller because it lays flat. This is the first picture I've done in there. I didn't have to crack the spine. It just completely lays flat. So, and I did some blending with some greens and yellows here. And we're also going to go over some of it with Prismacolor and see how that looks. Now, keep in mind, this is basic Amazon paper. So I wanted to start out by testing these, which are supposed to be similar to Copic's, very high quality artist markers, on a basic paper. And I will do another test here in a minute if I can grab a page on my Nina paper, which I love to use for my Etsy printables, which is a higher quality paper. So let's get back to this in a minute. I'm going to do her hair maybe on camera, and we can, talk about how they work. But first I'm going to move this so I can show you the one I've already opened. So it has a beautiful handle, nice carrying case, nice like actual silver on here for hardware. It's not plastic. The back is white. A nice top opening. You can turn little twist handles and open them. Now I have to admit, I'm used to having a huge variety. Between the two, there's 120 colors. Like, this is just not enough. Like, I was running out of colors to play with. And all of these are a lot of these are the skin tones in here that I told you I used. Just randomly guessing what would go well. And we'll see what colors are in the other box. I have not opened it yet. But I'm used to, like, my, almost 300 colors, right? With my Ohuhus and my Copic Chows. And so, but I have to say, I was surprised that, and they're different than a Copic. They're thin, with these more pointy ends, which is interesting. And they're kind of they're not normally round, so they haven't rolled off my desk or anything, or I had them on a book on my lap, on my coloring book, my giant hardback back book I use, and I put the coloring book on top when I'm like sitting in my recliner. It didn't roll off the book. And they do have this brush end similar to a Copic end. I do like the hold of this better than a Copic, especially the regular Copics, which are more kind of oval. They feel lighter than a Copic. And then they have, of course, this chisel nib. On the Amazon paper, I found them to be very like moist and juicy and just delicate and very little effort needed to touch the tip to the paper to get what you want, to get the color down. I have not looked into if these even have refills. If anybody knows, feel free to drop it in the comments below and where to get them. To be honest, I've never refilled my Copic markers. When I run out of skin tones, I toss it and I get a brand new one. It's like $7, you know. I'm just that funny. Like, I'd rather not just assemble a pen and try to put it together, but that's just me. I probably should learn how to do that. Let's set this aside and open the other box. Now, again, I don't know the difference. They have a set A and set B in a black case on Amazon. You can also find, probably find these, well, if you go on eBay, it'll be secondhand. They may have more sets now. I think the ones I bought were secondhand sellers. Blick.com. You can order them for sure. I thought the Amazon had the best price. If I can, whatever ones I can find today, as of the time I do this video, I will link it below. So this is the box they come in, and this is set B. Okay, so we're gonna open it just so you can see what you get when you order it. I'm gonna take this out. And here we have this beautiful set B. This one has not been touched yet. So it's really cute because, you know, if you're going on a road trip to a timeshare or something, you take your 2 little sets with you, just throw them in the back seat of your car. Kind of heavy for like a suitcase, but I mean, this is a very thick, heavy, like carrying case. So I do like that. Very sturdy handle, doesn't even move, doesn't wiggle. It's got actually like brass hardware. Or silver, I guess. It's very sturdy. So let's open these up. Okay, so off the bat, what I see different, so I don't see any of the skin tones here. Those were all in the other set. A lot of grays. Look at all these cool and warm grays. Like, and I don't know why things are blurring. Oh, there you go. Look at all these cool and warm grays. The other set had a ton of grays too. Definitely more greens here, more pinks and corals, few purples, good amount of browns. Let's look at the one I did. I can compare here. Not sure if I can get this in the camera, but can't get them in the camera. What if I do this? I cannot put this in my camera. All right, well, this is the set I did because we had all these skin tones here, and that's why they're mixed up. But again, this whole front row was grays. So there's a lot of grays. Cools, warms, and neutrals. More grays, I think, than any other color. There's a hot pink. A couple of purples. You know, I'm inclined to take everything out of these 2 cases and put color code them, like start with all my reds, then my purples, my pinks, and my greens, because I got some of each and I don't really care what set A, what set B. Unless, and this did not come with a swatch sheet. Maybe you can find one online. I use a notebook for all my different alcohol marker swatches. Like, I have a big notebook. I'll say all my Winsor Newtons. I have like 7 or 8 pages. I just do like a little marker stripe and write down the color. And I have a swatch book. I can show you how I do that. More oranges in this one. These are more pinks than reds, some different greens, a lot more browns. So we're gonna color her hair using this new set because there's a lot of browns in here. And I'll show you kind of how they flow. So let's just pick, let's see. I'm gonna pick, let's do like a burnt sienna, burnt orange, mahogany. I wonder how those are all going to go together. We could even put in a little, I'm going to take this scarlet to do a few red touch-ups. It's a different red than the one I've used. Maybe a deep, deep olive green. Oh, we have an emerald green for her boots. Let's do that. Maybe I'm looking at the picture to see what else we might want to try for the candies. We have a pretty yellow here. Let's take out a yellow. All right, let's let's just go for some random colors and hope for the best. That's what I did with the book, with the page so far. No swatching, just kind of going for it. That's how I like to start out any new marker set. I like to just grab a picture, one that I'm not overly, you know, concerned that if it would get messed up, like it'd be hard to replace, like something in my Etsy Overseas International books. I would not do a test page in there. But in this, in this book, there's so many pages. Here's kind of my little test sheet. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just take my 3 browns. I'm going to do a quick line so I can see darkest to lightest. And I lay them on the table in the order I test them, and then I judge which is the darkest to lightest after. Gosh, so that one's pretty close. I think I'm just going to switch these last 2. All right, so then what I'm going to do, yeah, her skin needs some work because it just turned out too brown. And for the record, the alcohol blender, the markers do not bleed whatsoever. However, here, I'm going to see if I can zoom in. You can see this. Here, so I did a dark and a medium orange, and then I used the alcohol blender over the whole thing, and it did bleed a little bit over because of the amount of alcohol in the Ohuhu blender. Same with here. You see that? So I did the 3 reds, and then I did the blender just to kind of test, and it did bleed over. It did not bleed over without the blender. The blender is fine when I did it kind of in the center here to give it a little bit of highlight. As long as they didn't go too close to the edges, nothing went over. So just a little tip with your alcohol marker blenders. So let's do her hair. Actually, I got this other red. This one I pulled out is called Scarlet. Let's just do this candy cane. Some of the thick, can you see that? If I could zoom in for that so you guys can see. Oh, I won't be able to get that in the camera. Can't get that in the camera. Not enough desk space. All right, that's cool. Let's just do some of the stripes. You just barely touch it. Look, I'm like barely touching. It's just so liquidy. And almost like a translucence, which is why it worked well for Christmas lights. The tips are soft, so if you push hard, it's going to bend. So you just barely touch it. I mean, I did a pointy tip for these evergreens all the way to the end. You know, it was really tricky, and I just kind of pulled. I didn't color. I just swiped downward, and it stayed in the lines as long as I didn't use the blender. So here's a different red. We're doing our candy cane. I thought I'd pull out a couple of Prismacolors, and we could go over, I want to go over her dress a little, some of these green spots. Try to enrich in the color a little, because it is, you know, these are like Copics, right? Now, they're great for blending. It's probably going to blend better on a better paper, but they're kind of like, I almost want to say see-through, because they're so, you get that more with the really high quality alcohol markers. See-through meaning it's not like a solid, like a Sharpie, like a thick, solid, heavy ink, if that makes sense. And markers are always my favorite. Did you guys see the video I listed yesterday? I'll link that below if you haven't seen it. See that next where I reviewed my Kalour 50-piece Macaron colored pencils, and I was coloring in Joshua Dunbar's new summer book, and I showed you all the pencils. Love these pencils, and they're no joke. This whole tin is $20 right now. At least it was 2 days ago when I made the video contents. So $20 for 50 beautiful pencils. Seriously, like they blend beautifully on the Amazon paper. Check that out below, the link for that video, and then in that video comments you can find the link to the pencils. I can even link those pencils in this video below if you want, but if you're on a budget, like those are really good, like macarons, and they're not like a pale baby pastels. They're dark in a candy kind of a macaron kind of a way, like rich color. So yeah, so I did that candy cane, you know, again, kind of translucent. You can do another layer if you want it darker, which I would like. Let's see if I do a second layer on every other one. You can also go over them with Prismacolors or any soft touch pencil that's, you know, darker, probably not a macaron color, but. So I did that candy cane, very easy, lovely green. I have this dark green I have not done yet. Maybe we can do some little bows on her. I almost thought of putting dark green icing on the gingerbread, but then I'm like, no, it's not traditional. Let's do some dark green bows on her, this really pretty green. And then we're going to do her hair. This is why I love markers, because you can just get your picture done faster. It's easier on your wrists. And I'm only doing the outside of the bow. The inside I like to do a little lighter color. I like to get my colors down faster instead of taking forever like it does with pencils, although I do enjoy the look of the pencils. So I did that. I'm going to need another green for the inside. I like to always make this center one a little darker. Go back over this, the little center knot. Maybe we can do this green up here in her hair. These little evergreens, which is fine. We'll go over that red that bled over. And this is where, and like leaves, such as for like poinsettias, I like to do one side of the leaf a darker green than the other. So I'll just go over it with a dark pencil on one side. That kind of gives it like a little like dimension. So you just do actually, I think I'm going to go over these red berries with stickles, which will look really pretty with stickly stickles and sparkles. So you'll see my final picture of this. I'll probably do at least one other Christmas in July in this book. You'll see what I colored in July video. Speaking of which, I'm so behind. I have not done my what I colored in June video. I have it all ready. It's just sitting here. I have a few final like makeup touches on a few portraits I need to do, but I promise I'm going to show that next, probably Friday night. And there's some gorgeous pictures. I have Deborah Muller's Hula Hotties. I have the new Route 66 by Colorit. I did a picture in there. I have some spring pictures, a lot of Bunny Girl, some international Etsy books. Just that it was like a big lot I did in June because things were rough for me. Still are, but I just escaped into my coloring. All right, so far I'm happy with everything in this picture except the skin is driving me insane, buddy. So you see the green. So let's do those 3 browns. I can zoom in for the hair, and I can zoom in to show you what I just did. See, like the skin tones did not go well. Like when you just randomly grabbed the colors and I was just blending them, and I hadn't swatched which one was darker or lighter. It didn't work so well. I tested a couple different cheek pinks, you can tell to see. So I need to go in with pencil and fix the whole thing, but that's fine because that's what you get for not swatching and practicing ahead of time. Skin tones are the hardest to master. That's why I always use my Copic markers for skin, because I have like 17 colors that I've mastered, which combos are best and how to do it. But when you randomly start with other skin tones, it can look funky, but I will fix this. It will look better. So let's do her hair. And you see those greens I just did there? All right. So I'm going to do these 3 browns. I like to do the darkest at the root. Let's do the ones around her face. And again, these lids pop off so easy. They don't stick. Just be careful you don't actually jam this. You want to make sure it gets into the center hole when you put it in, so you don't end up swiping it down the sides and then it's going to get all gunked up with ink and wet. All right, so let's do right along her root. Shorter part, like the first 1/4 of her strands, and then one around her face because it'll cover up any bleed over ink. Just pull, leave a little white there. Let's go to the second brown we have. And sometimes I like to do an underlay of a bright red, like that with the red I did on the candy cane. If you do the whole hair in red and then go over with the browns, that's a nice way to get your auburn tones, because it kind of softens the bright red and blends in with the brown, but you definitely want it on the undertone, not on the top layer. Okay, that's the second one. Let's do the final one down to her tips. Actually, this one might be darker. Sometimes on the test page, you can't, it looks like one's darker than the other, but once you get it on, it's not. So this one actually has a little more of like a yellow tint to it. You really have to go slow if you're going into fine lines, because this point is so delicate. Now that I'm using them, do I think they're worth the money? Yes, because I love high quality alcohol markers. And they don't have any, I don't smell anything until I just literally shoved it in my nose, and I smell what smells like a little bit of isopropyl alcohol, basically. Like real, like you'd open a bottle of it. I smell a little bit of that, like you get in a doctor's office on a cotton ball swab. That's what I just smelled. But from this distance, I can't smell anything. Like I had to shove it in my nose. So there we did a few different browns. Not a huge difference. So if you want those roots to look darker, go back to your darker first one and do a second layer right at the top here. You can see it does layer nicely. You can do it darker and do your second color again. Blend that one in. And again, you know, Amazon basic paper is pretty dry. Alcohol markers absorb really fast. Just like I don't use a lot of Copics on this paper because it uses more ink in it. But my Nina paper for my Etsy printables and my Express marker blending card is fantastic for like these ShinHan or the Copics. So I'll grab a printable here in a minute and we'll see. I was actually going to put a little tad of a yellow right over here. So we're not going to be able to see it, but I'll try. I might just lighten it a little. Yeah, for a little highlight right there. You have to leave a little bit of a white spot for that to show, but a little yellow. Speaking of yellow, I was going to do something else in yellow. I don't remember what it is now. I need to come up with one more Christmas light color. I did the orange, red, pink, blue, green. Don't know what other color to do. A little bit of yellow. All right. So let's do, and I'll finish this off camera, but you can see how, you know, see a little bit of yellow right there? If you leave a little white spot, you can see how nice that looks. Let's just do, I'll do the other side real quick. Just ignore that bad skin tone. I'm going to do this part, the darker roots here. Some of the skin tone blend into right here. So I'm going to just pull. I like to just pull it down like a brush, right? Like a paintbrush. Okay, I need to double check my, sometimes if I lay them back down in the wrong order. Okay, this is the lighter one. So we're going to do this one. I even missed some skin tone part right there. I thought that was a hair tendril, which is fine because I'm going to have to fix it anyway. I have the whole box set of Artex alcohol marker skin tones, and I did a tutorial. It was on a coloring book cafe girl sitting on a rocks on a beach video on testing them out, and you know, it didn't, oh, it's just like I'm so picky. Like I love my Copic skin tones that it didn't, on the paper I used, it didn't blend that well, and it was really dark. Of course, it looked like she had a suntan. So ever since I haven't used them, but it's my fault because I haven't swatched them. I haven't practiced. Like you have to use a good set of skin tone markers for like, I don't know, maybe up to 10 portraits before you really get a handle on them, before you can say, like, I know how to make these look real and good. It doesn't just happen overnight. So you see I'm leaving some little white bits because I want to go in with that yellow. So it's fine, like when you get a new pencil or portrait pencil or alcohol marker, if it looks muddy like her face does here, because you have to master each set, because every set works different. Every set has different colors, yada yada. So I'm just dotting. I want to get that dark again. I like to go down this line in the middle for the divide on the hair. Oops, I missed a little strand right there. I'm going to grab my yellow here in a minute, and then I'm going to do a little one of those candies in that yellow and see how that yellow looks. And then if you want to stick with me, I'm going to grab my beautiful Nina paper that has, I think, a couple printables I just printed on Etsy right on the floor. It's right next to me. And we will see how these look on there. Here's that yellow. I'm going to put a little in right here. And almost these really light colors over a dark, you don't always see them, but they kind of function like an alcohol blender. Like it softens and lightens and kind of blends the multi-shades you already put down. You're not going to see yellow, but you're going to kind of see like it functions like a little bit of a blender. Like if we do some right there. See that? Yes, we got a little bit of like yellow highlighting there for some highlights. So there we go. So I will set these aside to finish this off camera. What I'm going to do, oh, actually, I'm going to show you that yellow. Let's go back out. I'm going to show you that yellow. I'm going to do a little candy here. That's a different yellow from the other case. So let's just do, I'm doing kind of retro colors, like traditional 60s, 70s Christmas. So I've got the kind of the muted reds, greens, browns, and oranges, and blues, kind of more traditional. Ooh, that's a nice kind of a, almost a neon-y yellow. So let's just do this whole candy and then I'll pick another color for the stripes. And I like to tie in my color. So a little bit what's in the clothes, I like to put in the decor or the candy or the background. So you're all kind of in the same color palette. Yellow is really pretty. I'll probably do this one different. So we could do those stripes in a different color. I decided I want to take this green, this beautiful green we did up on our hair, to do this light, it's a light strand. I'm afraid, because there's a dark green here, if I go through it, you're not going to see it. So I might do that light strand in a different color. We'll see. So let's do this before I grab my Nina paper and show you. I'll show you a few of the pinks or purples if you want to see. Is anyone else doing Christmas in July? I don't do very many, a couple. In fact, this morning I just watched a Hallmark Christmas movie, Lights, Camera, Christmas. It was from last year. It was really cute. It's all about like they were making a Christmas movie in a small town, and a clothing designer that got sucked into it. It was really cute. I'd never watched a Christmas movie in July before because I don't feel like it's Christmassy, and I love Christmas, and I feel like it kind of ruins it for me when it's hot out and you're watching a Christmas movie. But I was just in the mood here by myself and was doing a Christmas picture, so I said, why not? Yeah, so I would not probably do this in the green because it won't show over the green leaf. So I'm going to do this in like a red. So let's grab a color we can do on the little candy stripes. Let me see what I have here. Let's open up that set I was already doing this morning. Let me grab, there's a red I didn't use before. This is a deep red. It's called Old Red. It's probably like a brick. And in fact, maybe I can fix the, well, I can darken up those little juniper berries. Shoot, you guys didn't even see what I did there, did you? My camera is not wide enough to get full picture. So I'm doing this old deep red here. Again, I got those muted 60s and 70s colors. So this one is like definitely like bricks. It's like a brick red. Might be more like, I've seen like some Christmas things in this red, but it's really, I would say more of like a train station red or old Boston stucco brick houses red. I think that looks nice though. I'm gonna fix these little berries too. I thought I could do, and I'll zoom in and show you. I'm gonna do, maybe I can do a little bit of red just in the center, like little dots to kind of fix where I botched it by over blending with the blender. Let's see how that looks. And then it would be good if I could go over that with a lighter red. Kind of blend around it and fix it. And then the hair will cover up what already bled into the hair there. You can always bleed over from an alcohol blender if you're doing a dark color in the area outside the lines. I think it looks delicious. All right, so there is that. See how that red looked? But look at it, really is pretty, isn't it? I mean, love this book, love these markers. Let me grab a printable on a different paper. I'll show you some pinks. By the way, I have all new printables here. I'll show you what I got. Some of these are Patreons. Let's move this. So I have my Patreon for this Rena Art. This one is Lou Art Dream. And for these giant amounts of skin tones, I'm going to use my Pan Pastel skin tones because there's just too much area. It would just take up a whole ton of pencil or marker ink. And I have a beautiful Lana Green. I thought we would do one of maybe some poinsettias or flowers here. And then I have this beautiful, I guess, the Ukrainian girl, maybe, Lana Green. These are brand new from her website, actually. So let's do, I'm thinking some really pretty, I'm in a Christmas mood, but I kind of want to do some, and okay, this is my Express blending card. I'll link that below. So let me show you the difference. This one is much more white, like a milk white, blaring white, shiny, glossy, awesome for high quality markers, gorgeous. This is my Nina blending card, my Nina paper. It's a little more like creamish, a little bit more like a spoiled milk color, thicker, a little more tooth. It doesn't have the gloss. So completely different. I like them both for different reasons. So we'll do this on my Express blending card because it's my favorite high quality paper. But you only get like, you only get like 25 sheets for, I don't know, it's like $27. I'm not sure how much it is, but I'll link that below. But it is my favorite. I don't use it as often. So what do you guys think about just taking everything out and organizing them by colors? It won't be like what's the right one in the right set, but I'm going to go for it. Let's take out some purples. How about it? Ooh, we got some Pale Lilac, Mauve Shadow, Deep Violet. These might look nice together from this set. And from the other set, let's grab some other colors. Woo! This is the one I already did. So let's grab, ooh, purple gray. Gosh, it's so hard to know without swatching. I'm going to just randomly hope for the best and grab these three kind of pinkish purples. Hope it doesn't all, yeah. Generally with high quality alcohol blenders, you can, markers, you can get away with those kind of things. So how can I zoom this back in? Yes, I can. So can I zoom it in enough? Yes, I can. I could do, I think you can see, right? I have to pull my camera out just a little. Just a little. All right. We'll do this one here. Okay. Woo. So let's start with the purples, shall we? You can kind of tell by looking darker to lighter. pretty sure. If you really want to swatch them, you can. I'm not going to, because we're totally winging it and hoping for the best. So, whoops, sliding the paper around is not helpful. Let's do it. So there's some light grayscale on this Lana Green picture already. I'm going to take the darker one. Oh my gosh, I can already tell the difference. You don't hear the scratchy like you do on the Amazon paper. It feels even like more wet than it did on the other one. So I'm just going to do a little bit of dark around the darker highlights. Let's go to the medium color, the darker lowlights, shadows. Did I say highlights? Oh dear, that might be the lighter one. That's okay. We didn't swatch it, so we are winging it. Oh, this might actually be darker. So yep, the colors are not accurate on the end. This is why you swatch. So I'm going to, oh, it's really just smooth. It's like silk. Feels so nice. Feels really nice. Now, in all fairness, I'm just gonna go over it real fast. Look how fast I can just go right over the whole thing. In all fairness, this purple is too dark as a dark tone for my 3 colors because it's too far off from the 2, so it's not going to have as good of a blend, but the 2 lighter ones are blending gorgeous, quite gorgeously. Love it. I'm going to grab my blender and kind of see what it does. I'm going with that medium color again. And let's take, this is the lighter color again. Let's take the Ohuhu blender. I didn't see if there's a blender in the touch sets. I didn't even look. I'm gonna take this. Ooh, look at that. It just smooths it out. See a little bit like a white highlight there. This one's actually starting to get dried up and it still works. Yeah, you can tell because even the darker purple's got some highlights on it. Sorry, some whiteness on it. You can even go back over a little. That looks nice. Let's do one more and then we'll do the pinks. Let's do... Now you don't have to do it with these kind of like lines like I do. You can just do the first section if you want. I like to just kind of take my mid-tone, kind of go over those. Leave some white space. So these are definitely feeling to me like the Copics on this paper. They're less expensive than the Copics for sure, but they're still like a high-end quality marker, and it's having a similar effect, I can tell. It takes layers nice. Ideally, you don't, we'll see what happens when I do the pinks. Like, you do want to swatch stuff. You want to pick your colors a little better so you don't have so much of a contrast between colors. But let's put in this alcohol blender. I try to do the blender in the spots that have the lightest color instead of over the whole thing. That's where you can kind of get like your little light spots. Where the light might hit right there. Let's see, how's that look? I think that looks pretty good. So let's try over here some of the pinks. Set these aside. Here are 3 pinks. Oh dear. I really, see, in this case, I really need to test out because I want my darkest one at the base. Let me just do it on a paper so that, wow. I can tell you for sure the barrel colors, or I'm sure the tip covers, tip and the barrel colors do not match. So these two might look better together. Let's see what happens. All right. So you definitely have to swatch these. Hot pink is pretty close, but the others, no. So this hot pink is gorgeous. I'm going to do all three, and then on another one I'm just going to do the 2 colors. I just like kind of dab at it and try to like soften the previous darker color. Yeah, this one's definitely has more of a baby pink. And you know, I have to honestly say, I mean, yes, it feels different using this marker on the silky marker blender paper versus the Amazon paper. But honestly, I gotta be honest and say that this ShinHan marker held up fine on both. So I don't generally use a lot of Copic markers, which are my similar, you know, on my Amazon paper, but I would use these on there. I'll keep doing that in the Deborah book because honestly, like, it worked just as well. It just feels different. And yes, it uses more ink, so you don't want to do large expanse areas. No way am I going to do her whole hood or something in these markers. I'm going to use like a Spectrum Noir marker or even a budget marker maybe. So yeah, so I'm lightening it in the middle. It turns like peach. See that? That's really interesting. Almost like a yellow. So, which is kind of a flower would look, right? I'm going to do just the hot pink and the light one next. Let's do that here. I do a little different. I'm going to do it solid. And then I'm going to put in a lot more of that dark and then put in this one. And I'm just going to pull the dark color into this light one. Ooh, now we're seeing some real blending going on. So instead of like the lines I did here, I just did the first fourth of it all solid. And then I pulled the dark down with the lighter color, which is a little trick I have. Now look at that. Totally different. You can leave that. That looks really nice. I can put some of this blender on. Let's see. Just on this light area, is it going to turn kind of coral again? Yep, it is. Just a few little spots to give it a little, look at that. Oh, gorgeous. Gorgeous, gorgeous. So if we zoom back out, yeah, you can kind of see like some of those effects on the flowers here. You can do so many different things with your blending. Like in here, I might do the dark purple. Actually, let's just do that. I'll show you. Let me zoom back in. I'm going to show you, I'm going to do the dark purple in that manner. So I'm going to actually do it like solid instead of just lines. The first fourth of it, I'm going to do a lot more of the dark all in a block. Like, I might do a little bit on the tip here, but I'm going to do it more of it. And then I'm going to grab just my middle one. I do like to move while things are still kind of wet. See, this one is still really dark compared to the other color, so it didn't work quite as well as on that one, but I did put more of that darker purple there. But if the color, the darkest tone you have is too dark compared to the others, you want to keep it more like for the little lines if you're doing a flower, not at the base like I did on that one. So it's all trial and error. You can do whatever you want. So I'm just gonna pull this dark color down. And you know, if you don't like the look, take your mid-tone, darken it up. And I'm now going to put a little bit of a, see, that looks completely different than the ones with the blender, but I'm going to just put a little bit of here. And by the way, if you don't have an Ohuhu blender, there's a 3-pack of alcohol marker blenders that I use all the time from Art and Fly. Use them. It works for any alcohol marker for blending any. I will link that below. It's one of my favorites. I just happen to have this one on my table, so I was using it. So check the link below. So yeah, so you can see the difference. So I did more deep purple at the base, pulled in the middle, pulled it down, then the light, and then went back over all with the mid-tone over the whole thing, then put in the highlight so that you get a different look. You know, you can do a lot of different things. I didn't even intend for that to look yellow because the alcohol blender is clear, but my middle pink tone has a little bit of coral in it, so it kind of brought that out. But the point is, it looks like natural flowers because flower petals are not like a solid blocked color. So anyway, now you can see the beautiful ShinHan Touch Twin marker. I will link any sets I find below on Amazon, put them on your wish list, tell your significant other you want it for your birthday or for whatever holiday you can make up. Love them. Definitely more affordable than Copics. If you're looking to upgrade to a higher blend alcohol marker that is going to last, give you the ability to work well on all papers, I highly recommend these. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video.